Back once again, spring training 2019, Inkstead, Minnesota Radio Network. Jim Bartles here. Always pleased and pleasurable to be here for me to be at spring training and watch baseball, talk baseball. GM Lavine, general manager of the Twins, is with us. A lot of culture changes in the Twins. What have been some of the key goals and achievements that you and Derek Falvey have been looking to make? And again, your first year, a lot of observing, but now in the last year to year and a half, seen a lot of things happen. What are some of those goals for the achievements you're looking for?
Well, I think our goal when we joined the Twins was not to totally transform everything. Our goal was to take the best that Cleveland had to offer, the best that Texas had to offer, and marry it up with the best that Minnesota had established from a tradition standpoint. I think we've layered on that since that point. We've actually brought in people from 14 different Major League organizations. We brought in a lot of people outside of baseball in industries where they were very successful. We brought in people from the NCAA space. And I think the collective integration of that diversification of our inputs have been tremendous. So the net effect is what we've tried to do is really transform from, I think our fans knew and were very familiar with the Twins way, and that was one way of playing the game, and we were doing it the right way, and the franchise had massive success implementing the Twins way. I think today's athlete is a little bit more attentive to an individualized programming, and so we have tried to provide them with the resources of people who are capable of individualizing programming to maximize players' abilities, hopefully put them in a position to overachieve. And I think that's the biggest investment that Derek and I have made, is bringing in people from the outside who have that mindset, who have that creative capability. So as much as we're trying to honor the Twins way, I think we're trying to apply it individually to each individual player rather than necessarily broad strokes to everybody.
I think I saw this a while back early in training camp. You even had the University of Minnesota Gopher volleyball coach in, who's had tremendous success, NCAA Gophers internationally, just to get some of that exposure.
And Hugh McCutcheon is of whom you speak, and he's been a great resource for us. But it was a little bit of a mutual learning opportunity. We've also had a similar engagement with Cheryl Reeves. With the WNBA team, obviously the most successful coach in our marketplace. We've had great interaction with the Vikings and the Timberwolves as well. I think Derek and I subscribe to the theory we don't have it all figured out, and we're aspirational of learning from everyone we can. I think baseball sometimes is too myopic in thinking you have to work in baseball to impact baseball. We're certainly trying to broaden our horizons to people who are very successful in other walks of life, whether that be other sporting venues or it's potentially in business or academics, and I think we've had some very rewarding relationships as a result.
Surround yourself with successful people. That's the way to do it. Byron Buxton seems to have turned a corner this winter. Things have happened. He's come in. Everyone says Byron's got a little different demeanor right now. Boy, he's had a great spring.
And we couldn't be happier for him. You know, I think we sit here and we will say spring training stats aren't that meaningful. That being said, we are collectively ecstatic to see Byron get off to a good start. He's earned this, he deserves this, he's worked so hard for this, and just the longer he can go without people fixating on his on-field performance for the wrong reasons, I think this allows him to be the best version of himself, and I think when the fans get to see him play as the best version of themselves, it's electrifying. And so for our fans' sake, for the team's sake, for Byron's sake, if he can be the best Byron Buxton he possibly can be, this will be a special run and ride for our fans to be on.
He's a crowd pleaser, no question about it. And I kind of get the feel, keeping it a little bit quiet on Byron, it'll come around, and boy, it's come around this spring. Final roster spots. Now, we're doing this interview about 8 days before the home opener. I'll be there. I'm anxious to see what the final roster looks like. There's got to be a few of those spots, maybe 3 or 4, that you guys are analyzing very closely with all of your staff yet. I'm thinking maybe bullpen. I'll use the word utility, although we won't use that with Marwin, that's for sure. But who are some of those spots, and what's some of your thoughts as you're looking at those last positions?
So I'll just give you a little peek behind the scenes as the process that we go into. So we get to this point in spring, and we've kind of narrowed the field. But we still do have a number of spots open for competition. So we ask all of our professional scouts, we ask all of our player development coaches, we ask our on-field staff, we ask our analytics people, put together the bench, the bullpen, the starting rotation. So we're leaving no stone unturned. This isn't something where Derek, myself, and Rocco sit in a dark room and make these decisions in isolation. We glean as much of recommendations from our advisors as we possibly can. That being said, we have a very unique schedule to start the year. We play 10 games in the first 15 days, and that's if weather permits. So we have a lot of off days built in. So we have the ability to do some unique things with our team. You've already highlighted guys like Ehire Adrianza and certainly Marwin Gonzalez. These guys can play all over the field. They allow you to build a bench a little bit differently than otherwise you have to, because you don't have to have the conventional backup infielder, backup outfielder, backup catcher. These guys fill multiples of those roles, and so they allow you a lot of flexibility. So we can go in a lot of different directions right now. Yet to be determined exactly which ones we do, but we're having those conversations on a daily basis right now.
You know, a lot of fans are pulling for the turtle, Astudillo.
You know, so is he. Yeah, nobody's a bigger fan than he himself. He's been the folklore surrounding this player has been exceptional and well deserved. Yeah. I do think it goes worth saying that we made a lot of trades at the deadline last year, which I understand were unpopular to some of our fans, and we own that. That being said, with the infusion of Astudillo, Cave, and Austin and others, it felt as if we had some people walking into the door saying, this is an opportunity I'm not going to miss on. And I think they really elevated the level of play of the people in the clubhouse. That may not have happened but for some of those trades. So some of these things are silver linings to what otherwise could be dark clouds. He really emerged as a real gamer through that process.
Well said. Twins just finished a couple of multi-year contracts. You referred to those in our earlier segment. Are there more in the offing? Because there's probably some guys down in the clubhouse saying, am I next? And maybe there's some talks going on already.
You know, I don't know too much about square dancing, but I think it takes two to tango. And we would be aspirational of that. I think our vision and our strategy about those are, if Derek and I can do the best we can to marry the best of the current version of the Minnesota Twins with the best prospects we have on the horizon, then we have a chance to win for a long period of time. So we are desirous of doing that. We don't want to have the next wave of prospects come up just as these great players are leaving to free agency. So we'd like to extend the window so that our fans can enjoy both of those groups of players playing together. There are a number more guys on our list, but we have to make sure that they're amenable to it at the same time.
Can we expect any of those during the season, you think?
If I blink twice, no. It's hard to prognosticate. You know, all those conversations are happening behind the scenes, but the beauty of it is we control those players for a number of years, so those don't have to happen right now. But that doesn't mean some of them aren't happening behind the scenes as we speak.
All right, listeners, I tried the best I could, okay? Finally, the standings, what's going to happen this year? How the Twins are going to perform? What's the division going to look like? What's our chance for this team to get to the playoffs?
I think our goal every year, I've always been asked how many games do you want to win, and the answer is always at least one more than the team in second place. And so we're open to what that number looks like. In 2017, it was 85 to get to the playoffs. Fact of the matter of it, could have been 81 to get to the playoffs. So our goal is to get into the playoffs and do some damage when we get there. I think our division is very unique right now. You've got one of the stalwarts in the American League and really in the major leagues in the Cleveland Indians. That's a team that we have to respect. And until we unseat them, that we have to treat them as the class of our division. And then you have three teams that are in states of rebuilding. The Chicago White Sox, Kansas City Royals, and Detroit Tigers. A wealth of just real high upside young prospects on their teams. Whether they'll matriculate to the big leagues this year or over the next couple of years, yet to be seen. But we're hopeful that we can keep some distance between ourselves and them and close the distance between ourselves and Cleveland.
Thad Lavine, any last thing you want to say to our listeners, our viewers on web, Facebook? We've got over 250,000 people you're able to say something to about the Minnesota Twins in this 2019 season.
So I think every year when we make decisions, we try to keep in our minds, we call them Little Johnny Twins fan, and how he would respond to the moves we make. I recognize at times that some of the moves feel as if we're taking a step back, but I can assure you our commitment to the fans is we're always trying to build the team to win for today or for tomorrow. We'll never put our job security ahead of those two things, so we'll never just sit tight and not do anything to protect our own jobs. So we're always trying to do something to help the team. We welcome your feedback. Please feel free. You can call him and he can get in touch with me very sporadically. But we appreciate your support immensely, and we can't wait to see you at Target Field this year.
With Thad Lavine, General Manager, Minnesota Twins, Jim Bartles from Fort Myers. Overcast sky, but I think we're going to have a great day for a ball game down here, and there's going to be a lot of them, of course, this summer as well at Target Field. Thanks for joining us.